Welcome back, everybody, to the Bet It Sports podcast, only for the true sports fan. I am your host, JCOLE. I am once again joined by my brother and co-host, DZAMP. We are without Slush today, but what we are lacking in American star power, we have with our Canadian counterpart over here, Dylan Zamperin. And Dylan, we have another episode of Buy or Sell today. Let the people know that haven't seen it what we're getting into.
Yeah, so we got two options. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Buy or sell. Buy means you give into the take, you agree with it, you want to go all the way with it. Sell means maybe it's not the best take, you're not really agreeing with it. And we'll show our opinions and let you know what we think.
100%, brother. I couldn't have said it any better myself. You guys see the tweet on the screen from YouTube currently. It says, Bet It is the best sports channel on earth. Hashtag buy or sell. And what we would do here is, that's an easy buy, obviously, from both of us. We're going to buy that. We're going to tell you why. I don't think it needs much more explanation, Dylan. Let's get right into it here with our first buy or sell of the day. And it comes from @LonghornNation. He says, Arch Manning is severely overrated. Get him out. Hashtag buy or sell. This is extremely relevant, Dylan. This dude tweeted this, and it literally happened like probably 2 hours ago, the Ohio State versus Texas game. I'm going to kick it to you first here. What do you think about @LonghornNation giving up on his quarterback after week one and saying, get him out?
Well, J. Cole, I know down there in Texas, they got some good barbecue. And damn, when that meat comes off the grill, it's sizzling. And I'll tell you who else is sizzling. It's them fans in Longhorn Nation. Arch Manning had a terrible, terrible first game that literally just happened. Just a couple stats, just to name off, 170 yards. Okay, it looks all right on paper, but for a quarterback that has this much hype, has been in the Heisman rankings for the top two spots for, in betting sites and things like that. I think that his arm and his versatility can take him all the way, but damn, I just think like this is not a good look for him, and I think he is severely overrated, and I'm gonna smash this just like all the Longhorn Nation fans. He doesn't have the weapons like Bama, like the other teams, but I do think he is severely overrated.
Dylan is buying it right off the bat. A week one take from @LonghornNation. And Dylan, where I'm going to go with this is, you said the barbecue's banging in Texas. I'll tell you what else is in Texas. Everything is bigger there. And what else is bigger? The expectations. Everybody is expecting Arch to be a Tua Tagovailoa or a Tim Tebow right off the bat. He's the number one in the Heisman rankings, as you said. Dylan, this guy has started 2 games prior to playing the previous national champion. I know Texas was the number 1 team and Ohio State was the number 3 team, but this is a team that you're talking about just came off winning the big one. Guys, let's relax on Arch Manning. This is a perfect tweet encapsulating how the Longhorn Nation feels about him. They place so many expectations on him. If he has even a slightly terrible game, they're going to be coming for his head. And I guess that's what you get when you play in a big market, a Texas or an Alabama or an LSU, a big college town like that. But the severely overrated is coming from the media and from Texas. So you guys place this kind of huge expectation on his head. And then when he doesn't play incredible against probably the number 1 defense in the nation, all of a sudden it's time to get him out. Dylan, I'm going to have to sell this. I think he's overrated from a standpoint of the expectations that have been placed on him. It's not like he's been saying, hey, I need to be Heisman. I need to be the number 1 quarterback in the nation. This hasn't been him saying that. It's been the media and the fans in Texas placing that on his head. So he has nothing to do with this. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's kind of a light version of Josh Allen. He made some stupid decisions. I think he forced a couple balls during this game against Ohio State. But he also made some great throws in that last drive. When they were driving down the field, he made a couple of really nice throws over the middle. That touchdown throw to Silverstone over the shoulder was a beautiful throw. I think you need to give him some time here, guys. It's week 1. I know everything's bigger in Texas, but pump the brakes on calling him overrated and saying to get him out. There's 13 more weeks left in the season, plus bowl games and them potentially being in the playoffs. So let's give him some time here. Dylan, I'm going to sell it. That's my take here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with it. I think the mentioning of it's only been week one. A long way to go, but damn, that was not a great start for him.
I agree. Not a great start, but I'm going to sell it on getting him out. I think he is overrated just because of the media hype. I don't think he should be the number one guy in terms of Heisman rankings. I think that should be a Cade Klubnik or somebody like Garrett Nussmeier, somebody that's been proven. I mean, Arch Manning, like I said, has started 3 games, and one of those has been against the number one team in the nation now. So let's give him some time. Dylan, let's move right on here, brother. Our second take of the day comes from at Ravensflock 905. He says Lamar gets over the hump and wins the big one. Hashtag buy or sell. Dylan, I've been playing the Chris Paul role. I've been dishing to you for the assist right off the bat. Right now, I'm going to be James Harden. I'm going to take the first option and I'm going to take the first shot here. I am going to sell this one. It's going to be 2 sells for me in a row. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I know Lamar can take over a regular season game, but as far as being in the playoffs, I haven't seen it. And they keep experimenting with this kind of let's bring in old veteran receivers instead of getting him a number one option. And I know Zay Flowers is kind of a wide receiver one, but let's be honest, he's not a big play guy. He's not a guy where you can throw him out there and think this is a CeeDee Lamb or a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. They've never had that guy. And I love the offense. I think Lamar and Derrick Henry combined to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the National Football League. But for me, until I see him hoist that trophy or even get into a spot where he can get into a conference title game, I just can't buy this, Dylan. I mean, they've had a lot of controversy in that locker room as of late, a lot of moving pieces, guys leaving the team, guys kind of becoming the face of the franchise in Justin Tucker and then turning and resorting to getting hand jobs at an Asian massage. So I don't know what they're doing there. I don't love the fact that there's a lot of turmoil in that locker room. But until Lamar proves to me that he can take over a playoff game and not some game against the Raiders in Oakland on a Thursday, when there's actual pressure in the circumstance, when he's playing in Buffalo in February and taking that game over, then I can say he's going to get over the hump. But until then, I haven't seen it, Dylan. I'm going to sell it. What are you thinking, brother?
Well, I think Lamar Jackson, he's climbed Mount Everest at this point. I think it's taken him a few years to get to that summit point, but I think he's right at the top there, and I think he does get over the hump. So I am going to buy this. I do believe that Lamar Jackson will get over the hump. This team is dangerous, man. You can't forget Derrick Henry had a phenomenal season last year. He's an absolute beast. Just you see him stiff arm like 3-4 guys on every single run. You can't look past that. They just locked up Kyle Hamilton to a long-term deal. Jair Alexander's on this team. He's a great corner. And then we can't forget, they were in the playoffs. They were one possession away from bringing it back and beating the Buffalo Bills and maybe going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews absolutely sold the fucking bag on that catch. And I don't think Ravens fans will forgive him, but we'll see. But I think that is concerning to me. They have not brought in a lot of new talent this year. They have re-signed, but they haven't brought in new talent. I like Isaiah Likely. I like his versatility at the tight end position. Zay Flowers, is, like you said, is that wide receiver one. Isn't really that superstar level yet. And then Rashad Bateman is a good long pass receiver. I just think this team has what it takes. I know, like I just kind of contradicted myself saying they didn't bring anyone in, but I think the talents are already in the roster. Jim Harbaugh being at the helm, this guy is the real deal, and they'll go all the way to the Super Bowl and maybe even win it this year.
I love it, Dylan. I think you make a lot of great points right there. I mean, I think they're one weapon away from being serious contenders on either side of the ball. I think if they can get a big linebacker, I would have loved to see them trade for Micah Parsons. I know we'll get to that a little later in the video, but that would have completely changed the kind of outlook of their team. Nonetheless, I think they're a playoff team. I just can't buy the fact that Lamar gets over the hump totally and wins the big one. Dylan, let's move right on. We are buying or selling at the Bay's 707's take. He says the Giants are the hottest team in baseball. Sorry, I'm a Giants fan, but I got to laugh at that real quick. And we'll sneak into the playoffs. Keep up the great work, boys. The Bay 707, we appreciate you saying that. He says hashtag buy or sell. Dylan, I'm going to pass it off to you. Lead us off, brother. What do you think about the Bay saying the Giants are the hottest team in baseball, winning 6 in a row, and they're going to sneak into that third wild card spot? What are you thinking, brother?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are looking pretty serious right now. And I know they made that deal earlier in the year out of absolutely nowhere for Rafael Devers, who's an absolute threat. Willie Adames on that team, also big time power. And they got a bunch of guys collectively that can really do a great job. Patrick Bailey behind the dish has done a fabulous job defensively, and he's put the ball on the bat a few times as well. And I'm looking at this bullpen, and Randy Rodriguez really stands out to me with his ability to get guys out. And I know he is injured, and they haven't really had him in the past couple of days. But Ryan Walker as well is a great guy out of the pen. Logan Webb, obviously their ace. Justin Verlander, I know hasn't had a great year this year. A little bit unlucky with his record, but he's still a future Hall of Famer, and he knows what he's doing. They beat quite a few good teams. I do think they are the hottest team in baseball. Do they sneak into the playoffs at this rate if they keep it up? You know, you got guys that are not expected to produce and they keep producing at a high level. I think that's certainly a chance. There's still a lot of baseball left. I would say about 20 games left, I think there is, or even more. So if everything clicks, and I'm a Blue Jays fan, I've seen it click. Last year wasn't a good year. This year it started to click. I think if a team gets hot, you start playing some teams who are starting to get up some good draft position. They might be able to get into the playoffs.
Dylan's buying this one here. A crazy take from the Canadian about a Northern California team. Dylan, I'm a massive Giants fan, and when I read this take, it fires me up. I'm really thinking, you know what? The boys can do this. The Bay's right. They are the hottest team in baseball, and they could sneak into the playoffs. And then I wake up, and I realize there's no way in hell that this is happening. I am selling this 100%, Dylan. I loved your take talking about the Giants bullpen. And while you're right about Randy Rodriguez, he has been great this year. He will be throwing as many big league pitches as me in the next year because he is having Tommy John surgery next week, brother. I hate to let you know about that right now. I was going to tell you before the video, but he is having Tommy John, and we will both be on the couch watching other teams and not the San Francisco Giants in the playoffs, brother. This is just not happening. They go on a little streak every so often, and the fan base starts thinking, you know what? We've got a shot. We should keep Bob Melvin around. Buster Posey is the future of our front office. And while I would buy that take, I think Buster Posey has been great in his brief stint as general manager. Bob Melvin's not the guy to manage this ship, and I do not think we sneak into the playoffs. There's about, like you said, 25 games left. We're 6 games back of that third wild card spot. The Mets hold that position as of right now. You got to think. We're 6 games back, and we've won 6 games in a row. There is a massive uphill climb there, brother. I think we kind of resemble the Brewers, where we don't have a huge star. I know Devers has come in and been that guy in the past, but we're kind of a ragtag group of players, and that's kind of won us championships in the past. That 10, 12, and 14 team didn't really have a guy outside of Buster Posey where you could say, this is a $300 million, $400 million man, like you have in other organizations. But Dylan, I just can't see it. The pitching staff isn't incredible. We start Justin Verlander every 5th day. I think he's 1-13 this season. Our bullpen is becoming more shallow by the day. It seems like we got worse after we acquired Rafael Devers, who was leading the league in RBIs at the time, and then all of a sudden we go on like a 5-15 streak. I don't know how that happens. I think they're coming together and getting hot at the wrong time. I think it's too little, too late right here, Dylan. This is going to be 3 sells for me. Usually I like buying, you know what I mean? I like agreeing with the people's takes, but I'm going to sell this. The Giants aren't making the playoffs. Honestly, they're not a great team. Logan Webb's a great pitcher. Matt Chapman has been hot as of late. I think we overpaid Willie Adames. You talked about Patrick Bailey. That guy can't even hit his fucking weight. I don't even think he's hitting 220 this season. He's great behind the dish, but I mean, you might as well send him up there with a pool noodle because he cannot hit anything. I mean, if we can string together some wins, I think it's good for the fan base. I think it can help us sell some tickets, but we're in the same position every time. We can't figure out whether we're buying or we're selling. I know that's ironic because of the name of the show, but it seems like every time at the deadline, we can't figure out our identity. So we go and trade for Rafael Devers, and then it gets closer to the break, and we trade away Doval, Rogers, and a few other pieces. What is that? I don't understand. Dylan, I could rant about this all day, but at the end of the day, I'm going to sell it. We are not making the playoffs. We may be the hottest team in baseball. We've won 6 in a row, and we swept the Brewers. I think that's great. But at the end of the day, you're just making your draft pick shittier. You're just getting a worse draft pick by winning all these games. We might as well tank the rest of the season because we're not making the playoffs. Let's get a top 10 pick next year. Anyways, I digress, brother. Let's move on to our last take of the day. And this is a hot one. You were saying the Texas barbecue is extremely hot. We've had, 3 Texas takes today, I believe? He says, Cowboys for Life tweets at us and says, the Cowboys won the Micah Parsons trade. 2 firsts and Kenny Clark for a guy that didn't want to be in the building is a major win. Dylan, lead us off, brother. I know you talked about the Micah Parsons trade a little bit earlier, and we both sold the fact that he would be leaving the Cowboys. Turns out he is a Green Bay Packer at this point. What do you think about this tweet from Cowboys 4L? Did the Cowboys, in fact, win the Micah Parsons trade, brother? Hit me.
Yeah, well, wow. Let's just say this. I don't know if I was expecting this trade to go down. And with the Green Bay Packers, too, and Jerry Jones and their history, I did not expect that either. Now, let's look into this deal. The Cowboys won the Micah Parsons trade. They did get a good return, but I don't think they won. And just because of the sheer fact that Micah Parsons is Micah freaking Parsons.
Yeah.
He will run over, steamboat 300-pound guys at once, and he will dominate. And the fact that he signed that deal as well, right after he got traded with the Packers, that team is looking dangerous, man. They got a lot of offensive weapons in Jordan Love, Reed, wide receiver. They got a lot of mediocrity there, but damn, they play well together. And I think they were just lacking that defensive powerhouse. And I know they have a bunch of guys at safety and corner that are very effective, but I think Micah Parsons really puts them in a good spot to even be in the Super Bowl conversation this year. I think he does get them over the hump. Now, they do lose Kenny Clark, who's a very valuable asset, and they are giving up those 2 firsts. But I think when you can go and get a guy like Micah Parsons and have him agree to play with you for the next 4 years, I think that's a no-brainer for the Packers. And sure, Jerry Jones can sugarcoat it all he wants. Yeah, I offered him this. He didn't want to stay. I'm not going to deal with that. Sure, but the Cowboys are a mess. The barbecue is great. I love the barbecue again. And Green Bay has their new defensive player. They did not win the trade, the Cowboys. I am going to sell.
Dylan, I agree with you 100%. You might as well call this episode from JCOLE's perspective, Sell or Sell, because this is 4 sells in a row for me right here. I couldn't agree more. Like I said with your take, from my perspective, if I'm a GM, I value the player that's put stats on the field so much more than first-round picks. For me, there's a point where you're overpaying. Like when the Niners traded up for Trey Lance and traded away 3 first-round picks for a guy that hasn't played a single snap in the NFL, that's ludicrous to me. But when you're trading 2 firsts and a guy who's a good player, but he's not an upper echelon all-pro type player, for a guy like Micah Parsons, who's in those conversations of Defensive Player of the year in and year out, you do it 10 times out of 10. And I don't care what you have to pay the guy. If you can get him in your building, like you said, for the next 4 years, you write him a blank check. I don't care what it takes. And this is the thing about Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Like you said, Jerry can downplay it all he wants. But now all those jerseys that were $150 and $200 in the Cowboys team store are on sale for $30. They're trying to liquidate all that inventory. It's a huge blow to Dallas, and Dallas has done it once again, trading away their franchise player. And I saw an interview. I saw Jerry Jones doing an interview, and they said, look, Jerry, Micah Parsons has put up some of the most prolific seasons as a defender than anyone in the NFL. How do you get an extension if not Micah Parsons? And he said, why don't you ask Dak Prescott? Bro, Dak Prescott is not even a top 15 quarterback in the NFL, and you're paying him as the highest paid player in the league. What are we doing right there, Jerry? And here's the thing. I think Dak has that right amount of melanin and Caucasian in him. I think Micah Parsons had too much melanin in him, brother. I think Jerry Jones didn't want to pay the man. I don't think he wanted him as the face of the franchise there. But that's not the buy or sell here. I think this is a Cowboys fan coping just like Jerry Jones. This might be Jerry Jones tweeting this. I don't know if he can use Twitter. I think he's about 120 years old, so I don't think he knows how to work it very accurately. But this could be Jerry talking about, oh, the Cowboys won the trade. Cope, cope, cope. That's all I'm hearing is cope. No, they didn't. The Packers won the trade. They're looking like a force in the NFC. If you can go out and get a guy like Micah Parsons, especially for draft capital, you do it every day. And the thing is, a guy that didn't want to be in the building as a major win, his first press conference, he comes out and said, I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy for life. That's all I got to say, Dylan. Jerry Jones traded away one of the faces of the franchise. This guy's a future Hall of Famer, and he brings in Kenny Clark, who looks like a family-sized pack of milk duds put together. Anyways, Dylan, I digress. That's our last buy or sell of the day, brother. I appreciate you coming on and being my co-host, as always. Like I said, it was sell or sell for me today. 4 sells in a row. DZAMP was all over the map with his buy or sells. But once again, I think this was an incredible episode, brother, and I appreciate you joining me. I'll let you sign off for the people, but JCOLE's out. Thank you, guys.
But yeah, dude, I think that last take was a little crazy. You had a few hot takes in there with Dak Prescott not being top 15. Ooh, I don't know about that. Maybe we can discuss that another day.
No way.
And then the melanin, I think CeeDee Lamb signed a big deal, and I would say he has a lot of melanin in him. So I don't know about that, but hey, I'm going to continue to hate on the Cowboys. I hate them. They're a terrible franchise, and I'm preying on their misery, and this just makes it even better. So we can hopefully agree on that. And other than that, appreciate the buy or sell. Make sure you guys like and comment. If you want any suggestions on what we should talk about, let us know in the comments below. Shout out to JCOLE, the best host in the game. Shout out to Slush, even though he's not here. He'll be back, and we're ready to go for the next one. See you, boys.
Appreciate you, brother. We'll be back for buy or sell, I think episode 6 at this point, a little bit later in the week. Just before we go, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Let's see who else. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Let's see. Jalen Hurts, I'd put over him. Jordan Love, Matthew Stafford. Let's see who else. Who else am I thinking of here? Dylan, help me out. I got 9 here.
I'd go CJ Stroud over him.
CJ Stroud, for sure. Kyler's last year was better than Dak. I know that's a fringe one right there. I'm going to put him in there.
Okay.
That's fringe.
Okay.
That's fringe.
I don't know if you said Purdy. I would put Purdy.
Purdy. Give me Purdy at 12. Yeah. There's got to be 3 more that I'm thinking of. Anyways.
Some could argue. Some could argue Geno Smith. Some could argue.
I agree.
Stats.
I agree. There's a lot of stats that would support it. The point of me saying that is I'm not looking at anything and I can name 10 better. This is my point. Dak is ass. We're out, boys.